let's get to the grilling. My name is Matt Groark. I'm a health and phys ed teacher by day, and I've been blessed to be able to own and operate groarkboysbbq. As a teacher, there's nothing I enjoy more than exactly what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna teach you how to make the most amazing barbecue baby back ribs that you will ever serve. You will blow the minds of anyone that gets to taste your work. We're gonna break this into 3 sections today. We're gonna talk about the prep of the ribs as well as the grill. Then we're gonna talk through the cook process and what it's gonna take to get these ribs to the most delectable, delicious barbecue item that you will serve at your house. I'm telling you, it's incredible. And then lastly, third, we're gonna get to the grub and what you need to do to present this to your people, to your family, to your friends, and absolutely blow their minds. It is so simple, and I cannot wait for you to follow along. Okay, so let's get through a couple of very important items that you're gonna need, not only to execute on this cook, but to make it more convenient and as easy for you as possible. I'm old school. I always go Kingford. It's just my preference. You're gonna need wood for smoking. I prefer, whenever I make ribs, to use apple wood. I lean towards fruit wood because it's sweet. It's not as pungent as some other woods like hickory or oak. So super friendly wood to work with. Obviously you need your product. I like to use the best, so I have Smithfield ribs. It's a name I'm sure you're familiar with. I mean, just meaty, beautiful ribs, and you're gonna see as we start to prep these. Get yourself a sharp knife for any trimming. I always recommend a meat thermometer. This is by ThermoWorks. We're focused more on the internal temp than we are the actual timing of the cook. Get your favorite rub seasoning. I use Caribbeque. This is something that I've been using for years. It's called Honey Heat, just the absolute perfect complement to pork. Mustard we're using as a binder, and I'm gonna talk about that briefly. And then you're gonna need your grill. We're going Weber kettle, guys. This is not an expensive process. I picked this up for $99 at my local Home Depot, Lowe's. I mean, you can get them anywhere. You don't have to break the bank to make amazing barbecue. So we're gonna get after it. I'm gonna show you the prep of these ribs, and then we'll get them on the grill. Speaking of the grill, let's get that fired up so we can get up to temperature and be ready to put our ribs on the grill. With the Weber kettle, we're using charcoal. We're gonna do an indirect cook, which means the ribs are gonna be offset to where the heat is. I'll explain that a little bit more. But let's get the charcoal fired up. I'll show you how we're gonna do that. I can't wait. So whenever I use my Weber kettle and I need charcoal, I prefer to use a charcoal chimney and some lighter cubes. These cubes are gonna go ahead and get this charcoal lit up in about 12 to 13 minutes. While the charcoal's getting started, I always like to make sure I do one quick run and make sure I have everything I need for this cook: mustard, my rub, a meat temp, and of course the ribs. Once you get that beautiful orange glow, we're ready to hit the grill. So as you can see here, I have some unlit coals on one half of the grill. This is an indirect cooking method. We're also going to use what's called the minion method, where we go ahead and we pour those lit coals on top. It's going to extend our cooking time for us. I'm using apple wood chunks here. These are gonna create a beautiful, clean smoke, and we're gonna go ahead and put that grate on and let it get up to temp. In the meantime, let's prep these ribs. This is my favorite part. So there's quite the argument on whether you should remove the membrane or leave it on. Listen, if I'm not cooking 50 racks and I'm only doing a couple for the family, I remove it. Here's a super simple way to do it. Bend the rack from the middle and then simply get your thumb underneath there and pull. It reveals all the beautiful meat under that membrane. Pro tip, get a paper towel and it'll pull off even easier. Now let's talk trimming baby back ribs. All I really want to do is get rid of any loose, jagged pieces of fat that are hanging off the ribs. You can see here there's a couple, nothing too crazy, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove those because they'll just end up burning. Some of the fat I can trim off. We don't want too much, but remember, fat is flavor. Another pro tip for you there. If you do see pieces that feel aren't going to render down, then feel free, but all this is going to be delicious. So my binder of choice is mustard. So let's talk about this for a second. People will see it and go, oh, I hate mustard. I don't want mustard. I don't like that flavor.
you will not taste the mustard. The mustard is simply going to act as a binder so that the rub will stick to the ribs. In terms of seasoning, you can really use any barbecue rub or seasoning that you enjoy. This is Caribbean Honey Heat. It is by far, and has been for a long time, my favorite seasoning when it comes to pork as well as chicken. I always season very liberally, do it as even as possible, and you're gonna let it sit for about 10-15 minutes before you put it on the grill to really let that seasoning set in. Now let's talk about that grill. At this point, we're up to 450 degrees, so we're gonna close this vent and bring it down to 300. It's gonna take some time. Just remember, when it comes to barbecue, patience is a virtue. So our smoker's all ready. You can see how the rub just really started to set in. So our smoker came down to about 300, which is right where I like to cook and smoke my meats. So we're gonna go ahead and put this rack bone side down. And we're gonna leave it there for about 2 hours. In the meantime, since we have a couple hours here, let's run inside and I'm gonna show you guys this pickle glaze.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm in my kitchen and we're gonna very quickly show you the recipe that is gonna take these ribs to the next level. This is a pickle glaze. Don't be intimidated by the pickles. We're gonna take 1 cup of strained pickle juice. Make sure you strain it because you don't want all those little bits. And we're taking 2 cups of packed brown sugar. We're gonna keep this over medium to low heat and reduce it for about 5 minutes and our glaze is finished.
After 5 minutes and that glaze cooks down a little bit, go ahead and set it aside. So about an hour and a half in, we were at almost 150. So I went ahead, covered it up, let it keep going. Half hour later, up to 170. So now it's time to put these aside, make sure you take out some foil, and we're ready to wrap.
Okay, so here we are with the wrap phase. These ribs have been on for about 2.5 hours. They're at an internal temperature of about 170. At this point, what we're gonna do, you see I have the foil line. I'm gonna lay out about a half a stick, about 5 tabs of butter. Along with that butter, we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on the bottom here. We're gonna flip the ribs, bone side down, right over top. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the same thing on top with the brown sugar. And about 4 or 5 tabs of butter. Same exact process as we did on the bottom. And what we're gonna do is wrap them. We're gonna place them back on the grill at about 275, 300 degrees. So what's gonna happen is they are going to steam. This is gonna create that beautiful, perfect bite that everyone strives for when they have ribs. And then just wait to see what we do after this. We're gonna go for about another hour, and then I'll show you how we finish.
Once your present's all wrapped and tucked in, we're going right back on the grill.
So here we are, we're at about the 3.5 hour mark. Our ribs are wrapped and in the smoker. They just reached 200 degrees internal. That is right where you want it. Now I'm gonna show you what we do next.
So these reached 200, all that butter and brown sugar melted. Now it's time to get that beautiful finishing crust.
So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them back on meat side down for about 20 minutes. And what this is gonna do is really caramelize the top of our ribs.
Through the magic of film, we fast forward 20 minutes, I flip them over and look at the difference. Beautiful.
Here we go, guys. Moment of truth. These are all finished up. I'm gonna pull them off, let them rest for a few minutes, and then we're gonna add that incredible pickle glaze that is gonna top these off perfectly.
Pickles and ribs might sound a little crazy, but trust me, you will not regret this. Now, as it's been sitting, the glaze is thickened up, really nice. You are not putting these ribs back on the grill. This is a finishing glaze. So we're simply brushing a beautiful coating all over the top of the ribs. You could do the bone side as well if you'd like. I mean, look how pretty. They say you eat with your eyes first, right? So by the looks of these, they came out perfect. So let's talk about slicing. for your family and friends that are going to be enjoying. Always cut with the bone side up so you're able to see where the meat is and where you need to slice. Personally, when I'm slicing my ribs, I like to slice them so that each bone has meat on both sides. For presentation purposes, I really think that that is the best way to do it. Now let's take a look at this rib. Remember, we used apple wood. Apple is a very light fruit wood. So you can see the smoke ring is not overwhelming. You can see it completely around the outside. It's a light pink. And the smoke flavor on these ribs is wonderful. Not too heavy, not too pungent, just enough. I always like to take that pickle glaze and give it one more little coating because it is that good.
Now this is what you call evolving your practice. Every time I do it, I feel like I learned something. There's your rack. Baby backs, pickle glaze, cooked perfectly. I hope you guys learned a lot. I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to do this. Now let's take a bite. Now I'm not looking for a fall off the bone rib per se. If you want that, that's awesome. Cook them a little longer. But I really prefer a nice clean bite. So let's dig in.
These ribs had a super clean bite, came right off the bone, and the flavor from that pickle glaze, brown sugar and butter, was incredible.
I don't know what to say. I think I said it in the beginning. You will blow the minds of your guests. This pickle glaze, don't let the pickle scare you. Trust me, with the brown sugar cooking it down, it's just a beautiful, nice little tang to every bite. You will not regret it. You could always add a little bit more if you like. Absolutely the best rack of ribs that you will ever make. All right, guys, let's see if Daddy did a good job. Take a little bite. Whoa, big bite.
Oh, no.
Is that good? How is that? Thumbs up? Nice.